Okay, so in this lesson we're going to be taking a look at changing the colour of our sprite dynamically. So what I mean is when you press a button, or maybe when the scene starts, we can change the colour of our sprite or all of the sprites in the scene. And we can set it so it changes a specific colour. For example, if our sprite was blue but had a little bit of red in it, we could just change the red to a different colour. And we can change that colour to a specific colour, or we can change it to a randomly generated colour. So you could get a different colour every time you click the button, for example. Okay, so I've set up a scene with some tank objects that I've got here, and these are just your standard sprite objects. There's a few things that we need to do before we can start coding this. So we're going to go to extensions and we're going to search for colour, and we want object Recolorizer. Install it in the project, and then we're going to go onto our tank object, go to behaviors, and again search for colour, and then we want Sprite Recolorizer. Okay, so what we can do next is add a new event, and we'll search for mouse, and when a mouse button is pressed or touch held, we'll just choose the left mouse button. So when I press the mouse button, something is going to happen. I'm going to set this to do once, because we don't want it to constantly change colour as you've got the mouse button held in. We want it to just do it when you click, basically, so it'll only change it one time per click. And then in the add actions, we're going to choose the tank, choose Recolorizer. So origin colour, this is the colour that's already on our sprite that we want to focus on and change. So because my tank is like a red colour, I'm going to drag this up to red. You could be more specific by colour picking from your sprite if you want, but I know this is roughly a red, and we don't have to be too specific because we've got some settings here. And target colour, so for now let's say we'll change it to like a blue colour. So this is where on the hue range it will detect the original colour. So because this is not a perfect red that we've got on the tank, we can set this to something like maybe 30 degrees or higher. Saturation scope, again that's a bit like the hue scope, it's saying whereabouts in the saturation range to look like compared to this colour that we've put here. So if we try like do 50, and then in lightness scope again we'll do about 50. So we'll test that out, and when I click we should see it change colour. So yeah, we've got it changed to blue. I'm not sure if you can see from there, but there is a little bit of red still on here, and if I make this one bigger, we can see that there is a little bit of red. So we just need to fine tune these figures a bit. So in saturation scope we would try maybe like 80 and 80 on the lightness. Do it again, that's looking much better. So we want to make sure that we don't get the numbers too high, or it'll also affect the wheels and the stuff that's not coloured. So for example, if I set these to 100 and 100, and then we do it, we can see that the wheels actually got lighter there. So I'm just going to change this back to 80 and 80. You might need to have slightly different figures depending on what you've set for your origin colour and what colours you've got on your object. Okay, so how can we make this a bit more interesting? We're going to add some randomisation. So if I just click on here, go up to the plus, and then we choose for each object. We can choose tank from the object here and move this down to here. So instead of the target colour being blue, what we're going to do is search for rand and then do random in range. So because the colour ranges from 0 to 255, what we're going to do is 0, 255, and we need 3 of those values for the red, green and blue. So what I'm going to do is copy this and then do plus, paste it again, plus, paste it again. So then we're going to get 3 random values. So now we see we're getting different colours constantly. But what I want to do is make it so that only happens when you press the mouse button. So I'm going to drag this up until it's a sub condition, of this event. And I'll make this tank smaller again. So now every time we click, we're going to get a random colour for each tank. If you wanted, you could also set this to happen at the beginning of the scene. So every time you start the scene, you're going to get different coloured tanks. So there you go. I hope that was helpful.